All right, Paulicia's graph the first one for us. Y is greater than or equal to x minus 4. Less than to the bottom. Less than is to the bottom, yeah. There you go, that's the bottom. All right, there it is. There's our second one. That is the second one. Here comes the third one. There you go. Vertical line through the -2. There it is. And this time there is no top or bottom, so it should be shaded to the right. That's where the x values are greater than or equal to a -2. All right, we got one more to go here. And the last one we got to graph here is y is less than or equal to 3. Okay, this time it's a horizontal line. There you go. Now we got this big ugly mess. All right, now we got one last thing to do. Hey, come on up. I need you to darken in the area where all 4 overlap. It's kind of hard to tell with ours. Hopefully you can find it in there. All right, where do all 4 overlap each other? Darken in that part. All right, so that's that funny looking shape there. There you go. Everybody see that? Right in this area here. That's where all the solutions are to this system. All of these order pairs that satisfy all 4 inequalities, and only those order pairs within that shaded area. All right. So obviously, the more inequalities we have, the harder it is to find that overlap. All right, we got one last thing here that we need to look at. Down at the bottom of your page, number 10, it says, what system of inequality could be used to create this graph and solutions? Now, it's kind of hard to tell on yours because the copy machine doesn't do a very good job of doing that shading for you. So let's look at this one up here on the board. The first one, the blue one. The blue one. First thing I got to do is decide what kind of inequality symbol do I need. Do I need a less than or do I need a greater than? Well, look at the shading of that line. Just notice it's shaded to the bottom. And because it's shaded to the bottom, what kind of inequality should I use? Less than. So we know it should be a less than. Next thing I'm going to look for is to see if I need an equal sign. Do I need an equal sign on this one? Yes. We know that because it's a solid line. So I have y is less than or equal to something. To find that something, I need the slope, and I also need the y-intercept. I think the y-intercept is pretty obvious here. The y-intercept is a what? 2. Positive 2. So there's the y-intercept. The last thing I need is the slope, the number that goes in front of the x. Can anybody tell what that slope is? 2? No, not negative. -2. Negative 2. We know it's negative because it's going down. So there's our first inequality. That would represent the blue line. Now I need one for the red one. All right, so here we go. Again, look at the shading. Notice the shading is to the bottom of the line, which means we're going to need a less than. Do I need an equal on this one? Not this time, because this time it's a dotted line. So the next thing I'm going to need is the slope and the y-intercept. Let's start with the y-intercept. Y-intercept on this one is going to be a negative 1. So over here we should have minus 1. Next thing I need is the slope of the line. What's the slope of that line? Negative 1/2. So this is the system that matches this inequality. So we could go forwards and backwards here. So on the test on Thursday, I may give you the graph and ask you to write the inequalities, or I may give you the inequalities and ask you to give me the graph. So just make sure you can work up both ways. All right, so that takes us to the last page. The last page.